Welcome to Ibis Weather. This is your host, Sarah. This is the update for February 12th, 2026. We are talking about the upcoming Valentine's Day weekend forecast as we are getting our first possible inkling and taste of what spring may hold for us as we enter closer into the month of March. If you watched yesterday's video, you guys will be aware that we were talking about that there was a lot of hype about what kind of storm or system that we may see this weekend, as we are now definitely more within, 3 day to 4 day range. It's, I think, something that we're getting a better idea on. The good news is it's not going to be like the past couple of severe systems we've had where it was, winter weather specifically. And it does not look like this will be a major tornado outbreak, or even necessarily a lot of hail or heavy wind or rain. That's good news. The conditions just don't look like it's going to be in that position for that, which is good news. But there is small potential. Like I said, this is probably really more or less just kind of our first sampling and uh, inkling of what is to come for the month starting March as we work our way into May, which is when that is the highest chance of severe weather for the Central Plains and even into the Dixie Alley as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is the current National Weather Service watches, warnings, and advisories. As you can see, just like yesterday, it's not very impressive, which is good news. It does not look like there's a lot of watches right now being issued. Will that change by tomorrow or Friday or Saturday? Time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, it's pretty quiet across the country, and I think that's a good thing again as we enjoy this break after having essentially 2 to 3 weeks of wondering, is it going to snow? Where is it going to snow? Is it going to ice? Where is it going to ice? It's kind of a nice break. Let's go ahead and look at the current radar image and give you guys an idea of just how quiet we are sitting at right now. So we do have some rain and snow showers kind of over there from Nevada all the way across into Colorado and a little bit into Nebraska and Wyoming. We also have some snow over there in Illinois and Indiana, and then of course over there by the Great Lakes in Pennsylvania, and then of course by Nova Scotia and New Brunswick as well. Those are really the only areas we're seeing. We might see a little bit over there by Vancouver, maybe starting to encroach a little bit into Washington State, and then all the way over there by Puerto Rico. There are some rain showers as well, but again, a nice quiet day, which I think again everyone can appreciate. Let's go ahead and talk about the convecta or convection outlook being put out by the Storm Prediction Center and Norman. As I showed yesterday, it's not hasn't really changed. We are seeing this for day 2 compared to yesterday's day 3, as Friday is tomorrow. So when they issued this, it was technically 2 days away. As you can see, it hasn't really changed. It does look like that it's kind of receded a little bit more west, for west, yet like on the eastern half, and then a little bit more east on the western half, northern half of it, with a very marginal risk. So not a whole lot expected, luckily, which is good news. I think the greatest risk will obviously be some thunderstorms, maybe with some risk of wind, not major anything with tornadoes or anything. So some areas that might see a little bit of thunderstorms tomorrow would be from Oklahoma City, Lubbock, Texas, Abilene, Texas, Midland, Texas, and Lawton, Oklahoma. So you guys will be the ones kind of in that risk of it. Again, it's not really a super big risk. Obviously, they're putting it as marginal, which typically means, you may have conditions right for 1 or 2 thunderstorms during the day, into the night that could try to become severe. Again, severe doesn't always mean tornadoes. It can mean anything from lightning to heavy rain to high winds, which this one does look like the greatest risk of severe weather will be some high winds, gusts of winds, etc. So again, nothing super bad. Just kind of our first little inkling of what spring may be for the Southern Plains coming into March, but nothing too crazy, which is good news. Let's go ahead and see what it is for Saturday. So we do see the marginal risk area actually grow, and it kind of rounds itself out. So again, most of Texas, except for the extreme western portions and extreme southwestern portion of Texas, into most again of Oklahoma, except for their panhandle, pretty much all of Arkansas, Louisiana, all of Mississippi, and about half of Alabama also having that risk of again rain and thunderstorms. Again, marginal, which is good news. So again, I would say We're not really looking at anything major. It's expected to happen. Not a big outbreak, not a big risk. So obviously not a hatched area, which is good news as well. You don't want to see that when it comes to these convection or what severe thunderstorm outlooks with these. So that is good news. So again, very small. Probably you maybe one or two could possibly try to become severe. Now, on Saturday, I do think there's a little bit of a higher risk of some tornadic activity that may happen again over there in Oklahoma and Texas and Arkansas a little bit. Um, so there is a little bit of a higher risk there, but again, I would say it's probably most likely just going to be some typical garden variety thunderstorms or some rain and maybe some gusty winds, which is good news. And for any of these areas that will be under it, it will be from Houston, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas, and Fort Worth. Interestingly, they don't mention Oklahoma City on that. But I would say that you guys are a little bit in a darker green as again as what those cities I just listed are. So there might definitely be a little bit of a risk for you guys to see some of that as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the cape layer, the convection layer again. I did show this yesterday. This is, I believe, the GFS. Let me just scroll up to make sure. Yes, GFS. So we are looking at midnight tonight, so that'll be tomorrow morning. We do see a little bit of convection starting to fire up over into Texas and a little bit over there in southern Utah. Let's go ahead and take a look around 3 p.m. Friday, and of course, gotta love ads. Okay, so we do see a little bit more convection over there into Oklahoma and Texas, all the way down into a little bit into Mexico as well. Again, not super high numbers. So if we scroll down to look at the numbers of that, yellows are, anywhere between about 400 to 600, so nothing too crazy, which is good news. We definitely do not want to see oranges, reds, or pinks for this. So this is definitely some better news, which is good. Obviously, with daytime heating, your instability does increase with these systems and storms. So unfortunately, I think that's why you do see a little bit of an increase compared to like at midnight. Um, so again, if you do see thunderstorms with severe potential, probably will happen more or less in the afternoon into the early evening. Again, not unusual for a springtime kind of setup. Again, this is a very minute springtime like setup, not completely the way that we normally would see it, just like a very first inkling of it. So that is good news. Let's go ahead and look at what they show for Saturday at 12. So you do see it kind of breaking down a little bit more convection um, or Cape, I should say, over there in western Texas and over there by the border between Texas and Mexico. But again, nothing super crazy. Let's go ahead and look at 4 p.m. Saturday. And we definitely see more convection that day. So Saturday again, I think would be probably the greatest risk again from Oklahoma all the way down into San Antonio and Houston. So we do see a little bit more. We're encroaching a little bit into the oranges. Nothing too crazy or wild here either, which is good news, but something to be aware of. Again, these are just kind of models. These aren't the actual Cape numbers for it, which is good news. We'll have to see what happens starting tomorrow with it. But definitely looks like that we have a little bit of a higher risk of that. Then let's go ahead and take a look at Sunday at 8 a.m. And you see it starting to kind of push off. So this does look like Louisiana, southern Louisiana to extreme southern Mississippi, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle possibly having some, but definitely the greater risk probably would be more or less into the Gulf, which is good news. We'll see how that grows. Again, what time was this? That would be for 8 a.m. So let's go ahead and look at 4 p.m. Sunday again. So definitely a little bit less convection. So definitely looks like maybe Dixie Alley, the southeast, won't have the worry on Sunday the way that Texas. And again, Texas is not going to have, and Oklahoma are not going to have major concerns. Again, this is not a huge threat, which is good news, but it's definitely a little bit of possibility there. Um, Let's go ahead and see what Sunday at 10 p.m. And you see Florida, so you might see a little bit more of an increase over there by you guys on the western coast. Florida as it starts getting a little bit closer and passing over to you guys, according to GFS. Let's see Monday at 6 a.m. And yes, so let's back up a little bit. So you do see a little bit more of a greater risk over there in Miami. Definitely again showing it slowed down like it did yesterday, 2 a.m. So again, nothing too wild or crazy. Definitely looks like GFS is hinting that really the greatest risk will be for Texas Triangle area and Oklahoma come Saturday. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Euro version of this. So we're starting this again at midnight tonight for Friday morning. Again, seeing a little bit of Cape firing up again into Texas. Let's go ahead and see Friday 4 p.m. to see what they show for that. So definitely again more of a western Texas into Mexico, a little bit into Oklahoma. This one does show a little bit more oranges for western Texas, so that is interesting. We'll see how high Cape gets for tomorrow in those areas as the day progresses. Daytime heating would definitely cause more damage in that area, if you will, with causing instability in the air. Let's go ahead and take a look at 4 p.m. Saturday. So this one definitely shows San Antonio and Houston having more reds. Not so bad for Dallas, which is kind of unusual if you guys are not familiar. Dallas and Oklahoma City certainly have a higher risk, more prone tornadoes than Houston and San Antonio. But it looks like for this particular setup, because they are closer to the Gulf, that is where the highest instability is. So it looks like that is probably where the greatest risk will be. But again, I don't think it's going to be a major system by a long shot. Let's go ahead and take a look Sunday at 4 p.m. to see what happens. So this one does show definitely maintaining more Cape across the southeast, all the way even up to Atlanta. So you see a little bit more of the oranges, and then of course Florida being in it as well. Let's see, 8 p.m. Sunday, and you do see the convection weakening as it continues to push off the southeast coast from Georgia to the Carolinas in Florida, which is not unusual. It does seem like as storms get closer on the coast that they do weaken, which is good news for those people out there. But of course, um, can't completely rule out that severe weather might not pop up somewhere there. You can already see over here where we'll start seeing our next system coming across the West Coast coming the next week for next weekend, where again we'll have more storm activity again from the southern plains into the southeast. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next map. So this is the Euro's reflectivity, kind of sort of like a little bit of a radar on what is going to happen here. Let's see, we have this set at starting at Friday at noon. So you definitely see some thunder storms and rain showers in Arizona and starting to enter into New Mexico, cloud cover, snow for Utah and Colorado, and into Texas. Let's go ahead and look at 4 p.m. Oh, I hate when it happens. There we go. So it shows it kind of slowly going across. So again, looks like it's showing that this is the Euro, so we're most likely going to see the greatest risk Saturday. Let's go ahead and take a look at Saturday at noon, and definitely see more storms and hail and rain all the way up into Kansas City, Wichita, Joplin, Missouri, Oklahoma City, Dallas, and then of course, looks like Dallas has perhaps a chance for hail. Um, or okay, thunderstorms. So this would be light or moderate. So we're not seeing any major ones. There's a little bit of purple sprinkles in this for severe, but again, nothing super crazy, which is good news. Let's go ahead and look at 12 p.m. Sunday. So we do see again similar for that. Again, mostly a Florida and southwestern Georgia into Alabama here. Some definitely rain possible. Again, anywhere from light to moderate, not a whole lot of heavy, which is good news from Tennessee up into the lower Ohio Valley, and then of course, and kind of getting close to the Mid Atlantic, with some light to moderate chance of thunderstorms from Georgia into Florida Panhandle. Let's look at Sunday at 8 p.m. and we see it pushing off the coast of the southeast, and again you see it weakening and breaking up, which is again is not unusual. So we'll see how this holds and is true over the weekend. Again, this is just a model run. This is not an actual radar image of what we can expect for that. But let's go ahead and kind of look at the GFS equivalent of this. So we're starting at midnight tonight, Friday, not really seeing anything other than some rain and snow over there into the Intermountain West. And we go forward by noon tomorrow. We'll start seeing some rain into Utah and Arizona, pushing more, sorry, pick up more New Mexico, and then, of course, across Texas into Oklahoma. By 6 a.m. Saturday, definitely seeing Oklahoma getting more. This one does show by noon. Again, it's mostly Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, and Kansas. A little bit into entering possibly into the Dallas Fort Worth area. Kind of break apart here at midnight Sunday. We do see it kind of firing back up as it enters or exits the DFW area and goes to Texarkana. Definitely looks like Arkansas might be getting a little bit more heavy chance of heavy storms. I would see that kind of lingers around. So even by 6 a.m. Sunday, a little bit still in the DFW area, but Louisiana is starting to feel it. Mississippi starting, and of course Tennessee and the lower Ohio Valley. Again, kind of creating this interesting shape where, again, it's mostly just rain up there in Tennessee and the Mid Atlantic, North Carolina, South Carolina, with the heaviest being kind of out west as it exits out of Mississippi into Alabama, goes to Alabama by 6 p.m. Sunday by almost midnight, is starting to push off the coastline of the Carolinas and close to the Georgia coastline. And then by 6 a.m. Monday, Florida starting to get the very last remnants of it. And that is good. And then again, you can see here the next system setting up. So that is interesting. So again, as I mentioned yesterday, the reason why we are thinking that this is going to be a simple um, sampling of what spring will be like is because, as you can see here, we do have it showing dry line, and then of course warm, humid air and cold, dry air intermingling. We do see snow again for the Four Corner states. Again, not unusual, but definitely thunderstorms and rain for southern Arizona, New Mexico, most of Texas into Oklahoma. With rain just for the extreme eastern half of Colorado into Missouri. Again, this would be for Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. Saturday. Um, and then Arkansas, of course, having that risk as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it is for Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. Sunday. So this one we do see heavy rain, flash flooding possible over there in Arkansas, Texarkana a little bit. So that will be something worth noting. We'll see if new watches are issued for that tomorrow or advisories start being put out for that. And definitely, again, chance of rain and thunderstorms anywhere back from extreme eastern New Mexico, all of pretty much Oklahoma, most of Texas, and all the way across into just off the coast of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, and Florida. So it will be interesting to see. We'll see what this map shows tomorrow as we also get to day 3 because it might still, depending if it slows down and kind of how it plays out. We'll see what happens possibly early Monday, as some of us could still be lingering off, as you saw for some of the model runs, the southeast coast into early Monday morning, which I mean, there won't be daytime heating, so that's good news. But still, it is something that we probably want to be aware of because, again, nobody wants to wake up in the middle of the night and have a thunderstorm over their heads. That's certainly not fun. So I would think that, again, the greatest threat for severe weather will be a Saturday event, mostly into Sunday. Again, mostly for the Southern Plains, a little bit into Louisiana and Arkansas being at the greatest risk there. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I would love to have you guys here to continue to help me track this. Let me know where you guys are located and what you're expecting for this weekend. And if you have any fun plans for Valentine's Day, I know some people love it or hate that holiday, so it's kind of fun to see where everyone is. You can also follow me on Facebook where I do try to post a little bit more frequent updates. I will probably start putting out a little bit more stuff about the threats starting tomorrow as we get closer into the weekend on there a little more frequently. So you can look out for updates for that. And I will be back tomorrow with another round of what we can expect. Thank you guys for watching.